This is a blog entry that I wrote dated Thursday, June 16, 2016, and I entitled it On Being an Autism Grandfather. For some time, I've been meaning to sit down and write about my granddaughter. She was our first grandchild. When we heard some 16 years ago that we had a granddaughter, we were excited. We looked forward expectantly to all the assumptions of normalcy. A granddaughter who I could bounce on my knee, we could buy fancy dolls for, who we could read stories to, and all the normal things a grandfather does with a granddaughter. But our granddaughter was not normal. Our daughter, her mother, noticed that when our first grandson came along, he developed differently than his older sister. She was obviously not where she should be in terms of normal development, and so we entered the world of autism. Our expectations of normalcy in relation to our granddaughter were shattered. I have grieved and still to some degree grieve what could have been but was not. We always hear the success stories, the autistic children that respond well to this therapy or that therapy or some miracle program, and we're happy for them. Really, we are. But as our granddaughter grew older, hope for the miracle has faded considerably. I don't totally rule out a miracle, but neither do I hold my breath waiting and hoping for one. We observe the strain her autism has been on our daughter's family as well as ourselves. Her sibling brother at an early age sensed and felt that anxiety and uncertainty autism brought into his family. He too shared the emotional burden and psychological strain. We often were there to provide much needed respite time for her mother. There were some very extremely difficult times, but somehow by the mercy and grace of God, we as an extended family pulled through. Yes, I do love her, autism and all. She is very special. I think she knows I love her and in her own way has expressed her love for me. If she was on the verbal end of the autism spectrum, perhaps it would have been a little easier, but she is on the nonverbal part of the spectrum. And though there has been speech therapy and other things, she remains nonverbal. I have never heard her say, "I love you, Grandpa." She has expressed love to me in other ways, and for that I am thankful, but I still feel a loss. I don't know why this has happened. It just is, and despite all, she was created in God's image, and as such her life has meaning, purpose, value in and of herself as a being created in the image of God. I pray for her just as much as I pray for her two younger, quote, normal, end quote, brothers. My hope is that in the resurrection, when all things are restored to the fullness of what they were meant to be, that I will finally hear those words I have so longed to hear. I love you, Grandpa.